Hello, story seekers. I'm Nico.
I'm Ben, and welcome to the Tiny Bookcase. Right now, you're listening to our favourite part of the week.
Stories, discussion, and a high likelihood of gratuitous obscenities, all to sate the hunger of the story sorcerer Eustaris.
Regular listeners will know how it works, but for newcomers, Nico and I have both written a story to the same prompt.
We're about to share those stories with each other and you for the first time. Then we'll workshop them on mic. The prompt for this episode is pile. Hey Ben, stack 'em on me.
Pile. The log pile is an endless task. Sometimes it can be pleasing to split logs and add to it when a fresh day dawns and the sky remains fine. At other times, it's a chore to stamp out in the rain only to realise the pile has depleted below a threshold that's safe in an area prone to blizzards and washouts. The big stove that fends off the snow's grasp from our cabin is ever hungry. It swallows trees like our kids inhaled candy at Halloween, though it rarely sicks them back up. I remember the one time it did, though. A loud pop tugged me back from my drift towards sleep, and I saw a burning log roll across the rug towards our bed, threatening to catch the overhanging duvet and either leave us shivering in the snowy ruins of our home, or as a pair of scorched skeletons huddled in a forever embrace. I tumbled out of bed swearing and kicked it away before grabbing some tongs and returning it to the stove. I remember she was laughing by the time I breathed a sigh of relief, lovingly mocking me for saving our lives while stark bollock naked. Over the years, Sisyphus-like, I have set to my task over and over again. I have spent decades sawing up trunks and thunking them with my axe until they split. I often used to wonder if I should calculate how much of my life I have spent adding to that pile. I always stop that thought train from leaving the station, lest I figure out the number and can't unthink it. We moved to our cabin once our kids were old enough to fend for themselves in the city, her to write and me to think. I wasn't the worst dad, but I know I was a good husband, masculine when I needed to be, but sensitive enough to listen. I can't stop now. If I stop, I will go inside, and I can't go inside, because if I do, she won't be there for the first time. I will find merely the form that used to shine with her light. I will look into eyes that once were brighter than stars, and now have lost their lustre. I will kiss dry and parted lips that once smiled after the agonies of birthing our children. I can't go inside. I must then, by force of will alone, imagine myself happy, not with the outcome of my task, the hot food, warm nights, and light to read by, all of which means nothing to me now, but instead with the task itself. The sawing and thunking, the smell of burst wood fibres, and the feel of the linseed-oiled axe haft, smooth in my blistered hand. The ache of my back and undeniable power of my strike. Those sensations are the only things that mean anything anymore. The pile of logs I am growing was once a mansion for little insects. Now, surrounded by chips and sawdust, stands a monumental city teeming with chitinous backs, clicking mandibles, and tiny gleams where the moonlight refracts from compound eyes. Perhaps to them I am a maker god, bringing a golden age of log gap warrens and safety from predators. The kids said she smoked too much, or that she drank too much. Both were true. I think what they were really complaining about was that she put them second to her work. I never liked that perspective. It made it sound like it was a choice she had made, rather than being who she was. A woman who lived the life she wanted, loved who she wanted to, and always, always, always turned up when people truly needed her. I used to watch her covertly when she was writing. I would take down a well-thumbed classic and pretend to read it, looking out from lowered eyes and watching her chew her pencil between thoughts. I was always waiting to observe the moment she was seized by some divine energy, and would bend to her page until the pencil was worn to a nub. I knew I was lucky to watch magic being born, and knew too that if she felt observed, I would have ruined it. I must have read Wuthering Heights 100 times, and to this day I couldn't tell you what happens to Kathy in the end. I hope that Heathcliff fellow gets on all right. I grow clumsy, missing my marks and maul where I should be splitting. I drag more timbers over to my arboreal abattoir. The tone of my saw has changed to one of devastation. I am deforestation. My back creaks, and the muscles in my forearms writhe like stoats under greying skin. My eyes dim, or is it dark now? The moon's face wobbles when I look up at it, and to my eyes it seems to be attempting mitosis. The axe head breaks off when I miss my next strike, and the haft slips from my hands. I totter and fall against the pile, my kingdom of logs. Do I miss her? No. That's the wrong question. I can't miss her, because it's beyond me to conjure the complex entirety of who she was. I loved her, and now I have no other purpose. What a thing it is to know magic is gone from the world.
That was gorgeous, man.
Oh, thank you.
Extremely raw take. That's the only way I can put it. This, you sum it up very well at the end with that. I loved her, and now there's nothing else. It's very difficult to write about that kind of all-consuming love sensation. I think people do not whitewash it, it's probably the wrong word, but give a picturesque version of it all the time. But love is sadness, isn't it? It is
Oh, yeah.
always twinned with loss and trouble, and it's the people you love that you can get through trouble with that sort of make them stick. So I think, writing about that moment after where you hit the worst trouble and there isn't someone to go through it with, because that is the trouble. It's a great subject, and I think you handled it really beautifully.
Thank you.
There's some really lovely lines in there. My kingdom of logs, I thought, was just a particularly striking line. Like it's very simple, but it's something he's built, and it's full of life, even if it's unlike his own. And I think that works really, really well. Absolutely love the bit about Wuthering Heights towards the end.
Yeah.
The thing. Oh, I hope that Heathcliff, goodness me, chap, is all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to basically just nail somebody talking about it that definitely hasn't read it, if that makes
Got
sense.
to the end,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I tried to. It's relatively short. It's about 900 words,
Yeah.
and I've tried to change the ending of this about 5 times to try and get across the point that it can feel like the world has ended. It can feel like magic has gone from the world, but typically it just means that your life is going to look differently afterwards.
Yeah.
In many ways, and that's not accounting for all the sadness and that sort of thing. But I did want to try and make the point in here as well that there is going to be something else. It's not, even if you feel as low as this guy feels, there is always something else. There is always something to smile about at some point in the future. He just can't see it yet, and that's why it wasn't working, because he can't see it yet, and it's first person. So it would have made no sense to qualify it by it being like, oh, but I'll wake up tomorrow and it'll all be okay. I'll go and have a nice sleep. Make sure I eat some good food. Stay
Yeah.
hydrated for a couple of months.
At least I've still got my kids.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, it's not, that's not who this guy is at this point. But he will be. I like to think he'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, like, theoretically, you can deploy a perspective switch to one of his kids or whatever, but I think that would lessen it.
Yeah.
I think allowing it just to be his pit of despair that he is gradually going to, build a ramp out of in unneeded logs. I think that's enough. The Was she still in the house? Still in the
Yeah, I
cabin?
think she was still in the cabin. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you were about kissing her parched lips, and I thought, oh God, she's still in there. He can't let her go. That's absolutely horrid. Really sad. In other stories that could be a horror element, but in this it was just absolutely heart wrenching. I
Yeah,
think
there's also
especially,
like a practicality to it as well, right? It sounds like
yeah,
they're so remote
yeah. Where's
that
she gonna go?
yeah, like
Yeah,
it would take time, wouldn't it? The to actually like get. I mean, you're unlikely to get an ambulance out there anyway. So I guess what would you have to do? Like, I don't
yeah,
even know. Like, I don't know the practicalities of, if you've deliberately moved to the middle of nowhere with just you and one other person, and that person dies a natural death. What does that process look like? I'm sure it would be potentially interesting to figure that out, to learn about that, and then tell a story about that, maybe. But I think I would, because it's this is essentially flash fiction. I just wanted to focus on the feeling of the that sort of out damn spot moment,
yeah.
um, where he's just lost his body breaking to a task.
Almost, Golem like. This
Yeah, yeah.
is
It's
this is
just
the thing I must do because this is the last command I was given.
yeah. There is you mentioned about the lips. There was I hadn't realised it before you said it, but there's an old English song. I think it's just called the Unquiet Grave, and
Yeah,
it's one of my favourites, and it often gets used by different folk musicians in various different. Like it can be woven into another song. Like a couple of bars of it can be woven in,
yeah,
and that's all about like this. This guy who's grieving for his love that's lost. In that instance, it's like a young love rather than like a more mature love as this one is.
yeah,
Um, and he gets given a series of impossible tasks by her ghost in order to get one more kiss from her. Like stuff like blood out of a stone and things like that. So I suspect I might have been funneling some of that in there as well, because it is. I've mentioned Sisyphus there, haven't I? With this, task that just won't stop because you always have to do
yeah.
it. Um, but I think there is some mythology going on there, for sure. Not just sort of Greek, but maybe English as well.
I think one of the things that you do really nicely in it, I do want to draw attention to it, is that when he's talking about the past, it's sort of brighter. Like even the
Yeah,
language is there's a lot of stuff with the personification of the stove at the beginning, like it's a living thing, and then even that has lost its life and its luster. This kind of Beauty and the Beast, living inanimate object, even that is gone. The magic is gone from the world in the way that he's thinking about things. I think that's really nice. Also, the is it also just me, or has everyone got a you had to do something masculine completely naked story? At least one.
I think most guys will have had that at some point. You try and be cool and all the rest of it, but it is just funny to see a dick flopping about as
Yeah.
as as somebody's doing something intense.
Then I once leapt out of the shower because my partner at the time screamed, and next to the door into the bathroom was one of my swords. So I grabbed a sword and naked came dashing into the room. It turns out to protect her from a wasp.
Excellent. Did you
So
absolutely decapitate that wasp?
I slapped it with the flat of the blade, which felt particularly disrespectful actually to the Vespid in question.
That's been in question. Oh, amazing. Yeah, I think it's just a part of life, isn't it? Um, but yeah, it's. I wanted a nice moment that people could connect to. So my feeling is that most people will have a story like that.
Yeah.
Um, someone getting caught short or whatever. Like it's if your life is so closely woven with somebody else's life, it's impossible for you to not have an embarrassing moment naked at some point. I feel.
I do
Yeah.
also I wanted to say the line "writhe like stoats" when he's talking about his muscles, but it does an awful lot of sort of setting of who this man is.
Yeah.
Because your average generally I'd say like southerner isn't going to say.
You're talking about soft men, aren't you? You're talking about soft pansy
Yeah,
boys like me.
talking about you and I, city. we're not going to say stoat. A stoat would, if you even go things like weasels, I'd get through 3 or 4 before I even got to stoat.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good word choice. I think it really sets him up as
Oh, thank you.
a nature man.
Yeah. So, is there anything you'd change? Anything you'd want to add?
I think anything you'd add would detract from it simply because, like, it would be lovely to know, how long ago she passed away and if she is there and what needs to be done and, if he's hurt but because it's from his perspective, I think those things wouldn't really work. So the things I'd want as a reader, it's doing the thing that short fiction should do and making me have to suppose them. So I
Mm,
don't think there's anything I would add that wouldn't precipitate changing the whole thing. So I think as it is, it's doing its job as it should.
cool. All right. Well, thanks.
Yes,
I enjoyed it. I think it was, you know, everyone's experienced grief and stuff like that. I recently had a family friend passed away, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't ducking that
yeah,
when I was writing this. So even though like the relationship portrayed here has nothing to do with that person, I think there was a bit of that person in this story in various different places,
yeah,
which is always nice. We talk about Terry Pratchett a lot, but that GNU Terry Pratchett thing that went round, which is to do with his clacks system, but it's also a bit of a programming language, isn't it? Where it means like for the message to be returned when it reaches the end of the line and
yeah,
not logged, so it just keeps going round and round and round. And the idea is that if you speak someone's name, they aren't really fully gone from the
yeah,
world. They can be dead. They are dead. They're etc. But they're not necessarily gone from the world because they're remembered and the
yeah.
things that they did mattered and things like that. So I think writing stories like this, where you are consciously remembering people that have passed, I think is an important part of being a creative, being a writer.
Did you find any emotional catharsis in writing it?
I think so. It's very Yeah, I think so. Like I didn't really know how it was going to turn out, but I did start this. I did start writing this with the intention of it being of it including that kind of thing. So yeah, I think so. I think so. Sorry, that's not a very good answer, is it? But
It's
yeah,
okay.
it's there
Yeah,
for sure. And but I think that's why I was earlier I was talking about. It's important to note that you can even to acknowledge that this kind of depth of depression does exist. You will end up in it at some point if you
yeah,
open your heart to somebody or you admire someone a great deal or whatever it might be. You will end up in this depth of a depressive state caused by, you know, their death or rejection, whatever it might be, and that's okay. But I just want to make sure that I've said as a sort of paratext to this that that's not a state that you'll perpetually be living in. If somebody's going through
yeah.
something like that now, if it feels like it's endless and that your life is at an end, it's not. There is plenty more to go, and you'll have different and new experiences to look forward to.
Well said, man.
Story 2, I think. Please don't have written a raw story about grief.
Would I do that? Pyle. He stood in the waiting room. The chairs, coated as they were in their well-worn pink pleather, remained untouched. He couldn't help but fixate on the strange cracked edges of them, little squares of coating peeled away in a manner he was sure would never have happened to actual cured hide. He toyed once again with sitting down, but knew it was for naught. Shouldn't they have some kind of special chair here for people in his situation? He had heard plenty of horror stories, people claiming they had slipped and fallen onto every conceivable shape of insertable. Did they accommodate them in some manner? A cushion at the very least? He was suffering through no misguided act of his own, inexplicable new tumble or otherwise. And yet, here he was, stood to attention.
Barry Tellerbox, room 4, please.
The cold electronic voice crackled through the room, and with a shuffle the perfect inverse of John Wayne's saunter, he made his way through the surgery. At room 4, the door stood open, and set inside was a balding man. In some ways he was a blessing, in others, perhaps a curse. Barry didn't recognise him, which meant this would lack the familiarity of other appointments. That could, however, mean he never had to look this doctor in the eye again, after the doctor had looked him directly in the other end. Only time, it seemed, would tell. Mr. Tellerbox, please come in, take a seat. Barry hesitated, feared to cross the threshold and be forced by British politeness to take the dreaded seat. Is it all right if I don't? He asked. Well, I can hardly help treat you if you don't come in. The doctor was smiling, amiable. Please, Mr. Tellerbox, we are very busy. Barry stepped into the room. Do you want the door closed, please, Mr. Tellerbox? Barry, call me Barry, Barry said as he pushed the door shut. Of course, Barry. I am Dr. Koresh. The doctor looked expectant as Barry stood still holding the door handle. You are in a hurry to leave, Barry? Barry released the handle and stood between door and chair. He felt like a balloon with a plastic weight on the end of its string. No, well, yes, obviously no one likes the doctor, do they? This silence was awkward, at least for Barry. The doctor, he thought, was probably very used to people being extremely strange around him. Dr. Koresh looked up from his notepad and was shocked to find Barry still standing. Don't you want to sit down, Barry? Barry bit the bullet. I would prefer not to, no. He became aware he was looming over the doctor's desk and wished he could make use of his arse. I see. The doctor wrote something down, then looked up at Barry. Have you got the cold that's going around? I've had a lot of people through. Koresh flipped through a couple of pages. The receptionist said you didn't want to give any details. Barry recalled that phone call. The woman had sounded disinterested, then irritated, then almost refused to give him an appointment. He wasn't going to tell some stranger what was going on, though. It's quite personal, Doctor. I see. It's well, how should I put it? The doctor was already pulling a pair of latex gloves from a box on his desk. Cock rot, is it? Greasy bag? Crumbling foreskin? Does it whistle when you pee? What colour's the discharge? Barry considered running from the room and figuring it all out himself. Instead, he fought every average bloke's first instinct and spoke to the doctor. No, Doc, goodness, no, it's my, well, how should I, my bottom. Bottom? What was he? 5? He felt himself flush red. Of course, your bottom. Very good. Pepper grinder? Light bulb? Pool cue? No, God, no! Barry threw his hands up. I don't, nothing in there. It's only an exit. Not that there's anything wrong with it, if you like that sort of thing. Not that I'm implying you like that sort of thing, unless you do, in which case it's fine. That's fine. I just... Dr. Koresh waved a begloved hand. Your anus, Mr. Tellerbox. Barry nodded. Right. My bum. Yes, it's, well, there's something there. It feels sort of... He grasped for the words. Warm, and sort of like a... He swallowed. An onion. A brow raised on the doctor's forehead. In shape? Texture or size? Shape. And size, I suppose. Salad onion or one of the big cooking ones? Barry thought. Salad. I see. The doctor wrote something down. Best I have a look, then. Hands on the bed there, trousers and pants down, of course, feet slightly apart. Barry complied. It was awful. The coldness of winter gripped him, and the hotness of shame followed. Right, Mr. Telebox, let's have a look at... Oh my. Oh my? That couldn't possibly be good. Oh my? Oh, you indeed. The doctor was so close Barry could feel his warm breath against his arse cheeks. I'm going to handle the mass. There may be a small amount of pressure. Barry flinched in preparation, but nodded. He felt pressure, as expected. Then a soft tug. My word. What is it, Doc? Just hold on a moment, please, Mr. Telebox. There was a moment, and then the tugging resumed. There was pain, and then suddenly, tremendous relief. Then Barry could feel something warm and damp against his cheeks. What did you do, Doc? Silence. Doctor? Please do not move, Mr. Telebox. He heard footsteps, a door opening and then closing. He was caught in a turbulent panic state. He wanted to run. He wasn't sure he could. He definitely couldn't without pulling up his trousers. As he grappled with his options, the door opened again and two voices entered. Right, look at it. That was Koresh. You're sure that it... What in heavens? The second voice had stopped suddenly. I've never seen anything like it. I have, Dr. Koresh responded. Every time I've visited my father, it's a perfect replica. Perfect? Absolutely perfect. What the fuck is going on? Barry had had quite enough. You have what we would normally describe as a pile, Mr. Telebox. Right. So are you, please? It's an exact physical replica of the Taj Mahal. Well, it could be the Brighton Pavilion, no? Trust me, Dr. Gert. That is the Taj Mahal. Barry didn't care if it was the Venus. He wanted to know if it was fixable. Fascinating, I'm sure. Can it be removed? There was a moment's pause. It's likely to be full of so many blood vessels, given its size, that removal might be a risk to your life. A risk to my life? Having a fleshy holiday knick-knack dangling behind my bollocks is a risk to my life. I'll sit. I can't even enjoy looking at it like you seem to be doing. Both doctors had fallen silent. There is good news, Mr. Telebox, offered Gert. What the bloody hell is that, then? You're going to be very famous. Or your rectum will, at least. Who knows what other great wonders are up there? Barry felt himself begin to cry. He wished he'd stayed home, or just sat on the thing till it popped. So what do we do now? The doctors were quiet. The same thing I do every time I see the Taj Mahal. Take a photograph and call my father, Grace said firmly. Say cheese, Mr. Telebox. As the flash went off, Mr. Telebox did not say anything at all.
That was fucking hilarious. I laughed. Just before we get too far away from it, sorry. That last line, I think you might have done it again. I think it was "Say cheese, Mr. Telebox."
Do you know what? I nearly took the last line off.
Oh man,
I nearly did it.
Because it doesn't add anything. The last line.
No.
So I think you're good. The amount of times there where I was like, oh, he's got to do that as part of this joke, and then you did do that. It was a really pleasing loop, because when you're writing like a thriller or a mystery or something for people,
Yeah.
The aim isn't to be like so clever that you're inscrutable to your audience. The aim is to write something where they can follow it and start to predict it and get that like satisfying, oh yeah, I was right, when the story does go that way. And it was like you were doing that for comedy in this one. I don't know a better way to describe it than that, but it was almost it was almost like John Cleese-esque kind of comedy, where
yeah,
the
okay.
situation just keeps going, keeps getting
Yeah.
worse. To the point where I was almost like, did you need the funny voice on Barry? Like, would it have been funnier for him to be like a normal
Like a
bloke?
normal man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did like Luke like getting more exasperated? But I love the voice. It made me laugh a lot, the voice, so maybe don't change that. But what was the telebox name about? That was so distracting. The
I don't
Barry
know.
Telebox. You don't know
Harry Telebox.
Telebox. Mr. Telebox? Oh, very funny. Very, very funny. Really liked it.
I'm very proud to say this is the first time that I've read my wife one of the stories that will go on the podcast, and her only response has been, "You're so disgusting."
Yeah, top notch. Top notch. The like I wonder what other wonders are up there. Oh, so good. So good.
Also, absolutely thrilled to have no reason for this to be the case or explanation of why it is.
Yeah. No, it's just the guy has a replica of the Taj Mahal as a pile up his ass. That description of fatigued pleather that you gave at the start was really nice. I think that what that does for me is really grind your world, like show the granularity of your world, like how important it is that that things decay and that time passes, and
Yeah.
that there is a distinguish between nice things and not nice things as well. All of that comes back to pay off inside this rather strange joke that you then make. So I think it comes across as very deliberate, and I would say masterful. Like, that's very funny. That's a very funny story, and it's
Thank
well
you.
constructed.
When I had the prompt, I thought, oh, well, I want to write about someone with an unusual pile. And I think it to just get out of hand, I thought, what would be the strangest shape your pile could be?
Amazing.
So
The doctor's litany of pepper grinder, light bulb, pool cue. That, and then that list of like genital complaints as well. When he's like, he's already putting his gloves on as soon as that like invisible line is crossed, when it is going to be something really embarrassing, the gloves are going on. But not in like a Nurse Ratchet kind of like, that kind of like horrible like slap as you let go of the elastic, like not that way. It's more in like a, I'm gonna have to touch something gross and I'm a professional kind of way.
yeah, I think there's kind of an implication in there that this is a doctor that when a bloke rings up and he won't tell the receptionist what's wrong, they go, right, send him to Dr. Koresh, he knows.
Correct to handle it. The I clenched up and also like giggled and scrunched up my face when you said that he could feel the warm breath against his ass cheeks. Oh god, that was not like from like a. That is just way too close. That is intimate at that point, isn't it? Like, that's not an exam. You've got
A friend.
if you could come away with an arse hair between your teeth, then you've gone too close. It's only an exit speech that Barry Telebox gives, or Harry Telebox gives. It's only an exit. Just great. Like there's loads. It's obviously there's one big joke, but there's loads of little jokes in there. The situation doesn't feel ridiculous until you find out that it's the Taj Mahal. At which point you've built enough of the joke that it sits nicely, like it stands on those foundations really neatly. Loads of good lines. The bit where he loses it and he's like, "Holiday knick-knack hanging behind my ball sack" was also really funny. And then before that, as I say, you had that fatigue pleather thing with the special chair conversation about how people, if they have people that have shoved stuff up their ass, like it's all setting the stage really well. But there was a really nice bit of description where you say he's doing the inverse of John Wayne's swagger.
I couldn't think of a way to describe that movement other than that. That sort of really press.
But that 5 words gets you from standing upright in a doctor's waiting room to the doctor's office as a reader, and you know exactly what that is, because John Wayne's swagger isn't actually a very nice swagger. Like, it's kind of odd. Like, it's like a rolling, gambolling kind of stride from a very tall and strangely proportioned man. So to invert that, you turn into this sort of almost like ballerina, like tiptoeing forwards and keeping dead straight. Just really well conjured. Like it just was. I liked it.
I think you're really spot on with the. I hadn't made the connection, but with the kind of Python-esque nature of it, because they do that a lot with their, or did do that a lot with their sketches.
Like hidden
There was
information sketches.
yeah, or like a seemingly very normal thing, and then one of the characters would just do something utterly bizarre.
Yeah, yeah, yes. It has got like a flying circus vibe to it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
There was one line that I thought needed a bit of work, which was
Go on.
Could you maybe give it to us again? It was the whether he'd be able to look him in the eye after being directly in the other end. That line.
Hang on. I'm sure I can find it.
It was the only line that didn't scan for me.
What a lot of horrible things I'm scrolling back through.
He wished he could make use of his arse as one of those.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's quite early on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very early on. Yeah.
It could, however, mean he never had to look this doctor in the eye again after the doctor had looked him directly in the other end.
Yeah, that's. I can see the joke you're trying to make. It's like your brown eye at the other end, right? Like it's.
Yeah.
But I think that's not landing, and I don't think I'm good enough at writing jokes to help you on that one.
Yeah, but I think it may be past me. We need a professional in here.
But it's like the joke is funny. That I can see the joke. It's just that's not expressing it, I think.
I mean, maybe there's something where you'd never have the doctor. He'd never have to have the doctor look him in the eye again, either of them. But then you've got two eyes on your face. It's a tricky one. Maybe any of the three. I don't know. There's a joke somewhere.
Looked him in the eye. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
The blue ones or the brown one. But there you go. It's something. There's something.
Oh God. Yeah, workshop that one. That's what we need.
We're going to do 45 minutes now on working out how to distinguish an asshole from a human eye.
It's harder than you think, folks. The idea of just like standing next to a doctor's desk and just sort of looming over them is actually really funny to me as well. And I couldn't really express to you why. But I think it's just obviously it's a contravening of like social norms and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just complete break of protocol.
but it is fucking wacky, isn't it? That one person declining a seat is so destabilizing to a scenario. Potentially because of the power dynamic as well, because like the doctor has the power in that scenario. So if the person standing is sort of looming over the doctor, it's odd.
But yeah, it's I think a lot of it is. I go to the hospital quite a lot. So I've got lots of medical issues.
Well, you've had the primitive geezer out your arse at least twice, haven't you?
Yeah. Both directions as well. It's much easier to corners last.
The tip poking out like an iceberg.
Babe, can you come in here a minute?
That looked like an electrum capstone to you.
Oh, what a weird thing. No, but the doctor's appointments, no matter what hospital you go to, they do all start that same way. It might just be every time. Do you want the door? Oh yeah, closed, please. And then they say, please take a seat. And then you do an introduction, even though they've got your name on the screen. These are just always part of it. So yeah, fascinating. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was very silly. And I did come into it with a joke and then have to figure out what story could possibly result in that joke.
Yeah, I think you're selling yourself a little bit short there. Like, I get that I'm going on about how great this was, but like, I think you've written stuff for the podcast before where it's been a joke and you've done really well to get that many words out of it. This is a well-constructed, funny story with jokes in it and one big joke. Yeah. There's a difference, I think. And that's not a value judgment on the other stuff or this stuff. It's just this feels to me like it's got your years of of writing on this podcast are showing in that, because
Yeah.
you can see the way that things are constructed, where the humor comes from. I know it's an arse joke, but I think it is actually quite sophisticated, the way that you've created that funny.
I do think it's your jokes can be more sort of simple and base if you construct everything around them better. Like if the jokes are sort of more rapid fire and clever wordplay, then you can be more loose with them. Excuse the pun.
Yeah.
But if you're going to write about someone's bumhole, it needs to be couched in a story that's worth listening to. Otherwise, you might have well have just said, "This man's got something sticking out of his bum."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's got a strong Pratchett energy to it. I know we talk about Pratchett a lot on this, but he does make silly jokes like that.
Yeah.
But you like, especially for me, I'm a bit of a tone deaf reader for comedy sometimes. So I'll read even something as like a joke every line as Pratchett, and only on the first read I'll only really catch like a third of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're quite woven into the text. But I think that's because his actual plots are good. His characterization is good. His character motivations are clear. Their perspective, their view of the world is clear. And so, yeah, there are lots of like little silly jokes, but they're being generated by something that's well artificed. And
I think you're right
that's
as
evident
well.
in this, yeah.
I mean, years and years and years on from first touching some of those books, I revisit them and I find jokes I didn't find the third time, fifth time.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, I don't think anyone will ever be quite that good again, but well, maybe in the future, maybe there's someone coming that we don't know about yet. But God, he really did drop the ball initially and then figure it out quite hard and fast. And
Well, I mean, he did very well to get the first couple of books published, I think, because I
Yeah.
just don't like Color of Magic and like Fantastic. I've read them a bunch of times, and I've tried to love them, and I just don't. And he got he got paid for them, so I think he's the one that was laughing.
Good lad.
But you're right that like in particular with the Discworld stuff, like he finds an angle, and then all of a sudden the whole thing opens up before him.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I actually don't know. I think I need to read more books on him, but I don't know whether he wrote other stuff first and it didn't go anywhere, or whether A Color of Magic was literally his first book. I think it was, if memory
I know
serves.
he'd done lots of stuff sort of journalistically, hadn't he? But
Had he? Yeah. No,
yeah.
I need to know more. I got Slip of the Keyboard the other day. I haven't read it yet though.
I also have it and have not read it. So maybe we should do a race or something, and then you can beat me, and then we can talk about it.
Just on terms of on things we're reading and stuff at the moment. I started reading the Motorcycle Diaries.
Yes.
And really surprised me actually, because I only started last night, so I'm only like 20, 30 pages in or something. But it's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
And you don't just for context, most people probably know what I'm talking about, but this is Che Guevara's book that was sort of came from his diaries and things like that, of when he was going around on a motorcycle at 21 in South America. But there's loads of funny shit. Like there's a bit where they're like keep falling off their motorbike, like Pratt falling off their motorbike, and it's two men and a dog in a bag, and the dog keeps on getting diarrhea. I was like, what? I was just giggling. Like, I was just laughing, and the way that he was like talking about the world and stuff, it was very charismatic and funny. And so you can, and obviously we know what happened there. This guy goes on to be like a major figure in communism in South America, and is ultimately executed for this. And did loads of other shit, including lots of bad stuff as well. But the point is that like you can write something that's kind of like lighthearted and funny, but then also still have a point.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's such a beautiful thing writing, because you can go so many different ways with it. And,
yeah, I don't think we could have gone two more different directions just off the word pile, could we? So
no, I'm glad I went first, because you you gave exact context to the ending that I was trying to tack on but didn't want to. by
There we
then
go.
writing something so funny. It was really good. Really good. Oh, fantastic. What episode. 2 fun stories. Well, yours was fun.
Yours was very beautiful, so they pair up well.
But I hope people listening enjoyed them, and we'll be back next week with. Well, I'm fairly sure there'll be a guest next week, but you never know. Might be some more stories.
A cheeky guest.
Mm.
Or why ever not?
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Tiny Bookcase.
Remember to subscribe, otherwise you're going to miss out on the future fun.
Also, tell a friend. If you like this episode, link them to it.
We'd be tremendously grateful. You can follow us on Twitter at BookcaseTiny, Facebook at The Tiny Bookcase, and Instagram at BookcaseTiny for updates. Speaking of supporting the podcast, well, magic can only take one so far. The Tiny Bookcase is supported by the generosity of its patrons. Those kind souls have really kept my belly full the last year. Let's cast a spell for them, shall we? For rich ginger tones on their scalp, let us cast the Orangi Hedondo spell for Scott Byrne. And for general fabulousness, why not the Ooh La La, How's Your Mother spell on Matthew McLaren?
How do you come up with that shit, man?